don't be scared. I think I would say just simple as that. Don't be, frightened, because there's no problem too big. There's nothing that you can't overcome. There's nothing that you can't face.
My Mother Said I Shouldn't, with Sarah and Michaela.
Hello and welcome back to My Mother Said I Shouldn't with me, Sarah, health coach, and Kay. Hello. I am a life coach as well. And it's my goal today. So today we are going to talk about My Mother Said I Shouldn't Give Up.
This is a really special episode because this is our first guest today. And one of the reasons that we chose this is I think a lot of mothers can relate to this in terms of my mum's always saying to me, don't give up on your career, don't give up on yourself, don't give up on following your dream. But today we have Poppy Wilson with us. Welcome, Poppy.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Not at all. And obviously the reason that you are the perfect person to come on and talk about this subject is because of your history in terms of not giving up on your life and having that all the way since birth. So I would love, and I'm going to invite you to tell us a little bit about your story.
So I was born with a congenital heart disease, and in my case that took the form of aortic stenosis and regurgitation. So the aortic valve in your heart is the valve that pumps oxygenated blood around your whole body. And what was happening with my valve is that my aortic valve was narrow and blood was leaking back through the valve the wrong way. So my heart was under a little bit more strain, a little bit more pressure to pump that oxygenated blood around my body. So when I was a child, I would have episodes where I would turn blue and my skin would go translucent and I'd just hit the deck. So it's been something that has been a part of my life for so long, regular echo scans, regular ECG scans. And I had open heart surgery last June, and that was always something that I knew was going to be coming. I've had a couple of procedures in the past, but that didn't really rectify it. It was sort of a temporary relief to a permanent problem, really. So I always knew that open heart surgery would be needed at some point for it. But it's something that I've lived with since I was a baby, really.
And I guess the first question that comes to mind is, what has that been like, knowing that? Because was open heart surgery always going to happen, or was there a risk that it wouldn't happen?
It was always going to happen at some point. It was a case of when, not if, really. And it impacted my life quite tremendously, really. Not being able to do the things that everybody else was going to be doing because of the symptoms that I had, the heart palpitations, the breathlessness, the chest tightness, all of those symptoms, they do limit you, really. And every single cardiology checkup, you sort of held your breath before it thinking, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? But in the July of 2024, I could kind of feel the symptoms getting worse. And my cardiologist, I adore him so much. He's gorgeous. My cardiologist said, I'm gonna request an MRI for you. And that's when I thought, I'm picking up what you're putting down here. It's time. Let's go. It's go time. Let's knuckle down and let's get this done.
And I love that. That in itself.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's knuckle down. I can hear kind of like the innate strength within you. What has it taken to kind of build that resilience?
It's always been something. This sounds so dramatic. This sounds so dramatic. And I feel really, really lucky and really fortunate in the sense that my case, what I've been through, is not the most dramatic, catastrophic case out there. There are people that never know they have a problem with the heart, and then something life-changing happens. They have a heart attack or something awful. So I feel so lucky in the sense that I've known for years what's wrong with my heart and how to rectify it. It's just, this sounds brutal, but it's just something that you've got to just put up with. You've just got to face it, because what's the alternative? The alternative for me was either a cardiac arrest or heart failure. So there was no, you've just got to knuckle down, really.
And what would have happened, Poppy, with, you're saying it deteriorated over time from when you were a baby and then to 21? Was it when you had the surgery?
A week after my 21st birthday,
Oh,
I was admitted into hospital.
And so it deteriorated.
Yes.
Was that at that point, did you have to have that surgery at that point in time, or did you still have a little bit of time left?
I think there was still a little bit of wriggle room from what I gather, but I couldn't have prolonged it anymore, really. It needed to be done.
What is the reason that they do prolong it? I mean, why didn't they do this earlier? I'm intrigued as to, because obviously with all the symptoms that you had and whatnot, that sounds quite painful. So
They try to prolong it as long as they can so that you can get the most out of it. Because when you're little, when you're younger, your heart is still growing. Your heart is still growing. So if I were to I had the Ross procedure, which is a little bit of a fiddly procedure. It's where they took my aortic valve out and then they put my pulmonary valve in place of my aortic valve and then put a human donor valve in place of my pulmonary. So I did a little bit of musical chairs. And obviously, as your heart grows, as you grow, I would have needed more surgeries as my heart was growing. So it was best to leave it as long as possible until my heart was at full size, really, so that I can get the most out of it and I can go longer without needing another surgery. I shouldn't hopefully need another one, but if I would have had this surgery done when I was 5 years old, when I first had what's called a balloon dilation, I would have probably needed it again as my heart grew with me.
What was that surgery? You know, going in and having the open heart surgery. We talked about resilience, and it's so interesting what you said, because I listen to lots of podcasters. I'm a mindset coach, so I'm so interested and fascinated by this. Two of the things you mentioned was like acceptance that, you know, shit happens, right? In life, and we have to just crack on, as you said. And the other thing was gratitude that you said.
Immense gratitude.
Gratitude has been proven to be one of the most effective ways to kind of change your perspective and world and life in general, right? It's been proven. There've been so many studies on it. I guess I'm wondering, that moment before you go under open heart surgery, what happened for you there?
Oh my gosh, it was petrifying. It was absolutely petrifying. Leading up to my surgery, I hadn't got emotional. I was very sort of stoic. I am quite stubborn. I am very, very stubborn. So I would go to appointments on my own. My appointments up in Manchester, I'd go to on my own. But my parents and my sister came with me to my appointments in Liverpool where I had it done. But I was very sort of guard up. But being admitted into hospital and just as you say, going down that morning, that facade just shattered, just completely shattered. And I was lay on the bed and my brilliant anaesthetist, is that how you pronounce it? He was wonderful. He was administering the medicine to me and I could feel myself getting really drowsy, about to, you know, fall asleep. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to wake up. I I I don't know, because the surgery was 9 hours long and I was asleep for 11 hours. So they keep you asleep for a little bit longer so you can, you know, have a little bit of rest. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to open my eyes again. And it was that overwhelming sort of, oh God, oh God. But it's, you know, big girl knickers on and just sort of,
and at that point, it's out of your hands, right?
Completely.
Had the surgeon had that conversation with you before you went under to see what the risks were and if that's a possibility?
Yes, everybody at Liverpool Heart and Chest Hospital was absolutely phenomenal. I wasn't left in the dark about a thing. My surgeon came to see me the night before because I was admitted to hospital the previous evening and I went down first thing the following morning, and all of the team came to see me and chat to me and explained the risks and just went through everything what to expect, which was so helpful. Even down to the fact that they would need to do kind of an echo scan on my heart, but obviously they can't go through your chest because that's where the surgery is being performed. So they have to go in through your mouth. And the doctor said, you'll wake up with a tube in your mouth and you might have a sore throat. Things like that were so helpful to know so that I wasn't panicking when I woke up. I knew when I went down, all right, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna have a tube in my mouth, but that's okay. Everything was explained to me throughout the entire process. And the surgery itself was explained to me in detail as well. So I knew exactly what was happening and exactly what they were going to do when I wasn't here, really. when I wasn't awake to sort of see it and feel it. and knew what they were gonna do.
Your perspective on doctors and hospitals and treatment and medical care seems so positive.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
but me and Sarah were talking before we had you on about people's reluctance to go to the doctors. And I know from my perspective, it's not about an avoidance of bad news, because that come up as like something that people were really worried about. It was about being an inconvenience. I don't want to be an inconvenience because I feel like other people have bigger problems. So sometimes I just won't book. I'll wait for so long. And I guess hearing your experience about like it was so necessary, and we need to have a bit more of a positive attitude to the people who work in the NHS and work in the medical care, so that we do kind of, if we see a problem within us, we do kind of make sure that we're seen to and we're addressed to. Hearing your experience about how actually facing what was going to happen to you, it sounds like, and I don't know, it put you at ease. It was a bit more of a relief.
Absolutely. As I say, every single person was incredible, but it's so important if you feel the symptoms, the heart palpitations, the chest tightness, the breathlessness, anything. It is so, so important. Even if you just go to the GP for blood work, regular blood work, if you can get an ECG booked in, if you can see if there's any way you can get an echo booked in if you're concerned, because I was shocked actually. Before my surgery, I could almost feel my heartbeat in my fingertips.
Oh wow.
I would be laying in bed and I could feel my heart thumping in my fingertips. And now I don't feel that anymore. Now that I've had it done, I don't feel that, and I think that wasn't normal. I obviously know why it happened, but I look back now and I think, oh my gosh, my heart was really struggling, and I didn't know to the extent it was. So anything out of the ordinary, any breathlessness, any of those symptoms that you would typically associate with something being wrong with your heart, don't overlook it. Don't overlook it. It is so, so important, because something catastrophic and possibly fatal could happen.
And I think that's really important, saying that, like, you create your norm, don't you? Like, you think, oh,
Yeah.
that's just the norm. Like, that's just
Yeah.
how I feel. That's
Yeah.
how my
Oh, it's
heart
fine, yeah.
sometimes palpitates. That's
Yeah.
just that's a norm, right?
Yeah.
When it actually really isn't the norm.
Yeah.
And it's quite important that, that you actually do go and get yourself checked out. And it is when Kay was saying there that people don't go because they don't want to waste time. It's
20% of people
Wow.
don't go to the doctors because they don't want to be an inconvenience, and 25% don't go if they feel like it's a embarrassing problem.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And then I think it was another 1 in 10 don't go for over 2 years to the doctor to get something addressed, because they don't want to waste time. They're embarrassed. It's insane. So, and you think how long the damage that could have been done with, especially a heart condition, when that is a deteriorative thing. And I suppose if you get past a certain point, I know that there's people on the donors list that when they get past the point, they're no longer able to get operated on because there's too much damage has been done. So it's just so important to actually go and address that, and nothing is too small. There's no issue that is too small to go to the doctor about. But that was a question I wanted to ask you about, the donor side of things, Bobby, because you've obviously been lucky, you've managed to get a donor and it's all went really well for you. But was that a concern, and was that something that was spoken about when it came to getting your heart surgery, and if there was actually going to be a donor available?
It was definitely something that was mentioned, and I've actually been made aware that there is a shortage of heart valves at the moment, which is so detrimental, because surgeries could be delayed, and that obviously could have drastic repercussions. And I think a lot of people don't realise that. You think, oh, it's either my heart can be donated or it can't. It's either a yes or a no sort of answer, really. But no, your valves can be donated, and I've been very, very fortunate enough to go to the NHS blood and transplant site near Speakhall, in between Speakhall and Liverpool John Lennon Airport, and that's where they store the tissue and the valves. They store all sorts of skin, tendons, all sorts, and I've seen the freezers where the heart valves come from. It's just, the problem is there's not enough, and something that I didn't know, it's valves are like a jigsaw piece. They have to fit. So if the valve doesn't quite fit to that heart, then it can't be used. And the gentleman was explaining to me so many times we've had a request in, and we've had to say, I'm so sorry, we don't have it here, which is obviously devastating, because if you get a request in for a heart valve, somebody needs it. Somebody needs it desperately. So to be able to have to say, I'm so sorry, we've not got that size in that you need, must be absolutely heartbreaking, not only for the patient but also for the people making that call, saying we've not got it here. So it's so important. If if you're willing and able, please consider donating your heart valves. And apparently there's a shortage of corneas as well.
While we're on the subject.
So there we go. It's so important, but it was definitely something that was brought up. It could be a little bit of a delay if it's not, if we don't have what you need.
I was under the impression that, there would be loads of people wanting to donate. But Sarah was telling me yesterday that apparently if you don't have a conversation with your family and they don't know you want to donate, they can stop that, essentially. They can say, no, we don't want to donate because we didn't know whether or not they wanted to donate. So I've not had a conversation with any of my family, but I've always ticked on the driving license, I would like to donate my organs. And you were saying that now it's automatic. Is it automatic now?
So now it's an opt-out system in the UK. And people think, okay, well, I'm opted out. I've not opted out, then I'm opted in, right? They don't have to do anything about it. But your family, if anything does happen to you, then your family can say on the day, no, I don't know. I don't know what the wishes were, so we're not going to donate, even though you've not opted out of the donation system, which is just really crazy. And then there was another one that, because I thought surely there'll be enough donations now if it is an opt-out system, but because it's only like 1% of people actually, unfortunately, die in circumstances where you can actually take the organs safely. So it's
in hospitals, only one in 100. Yeah,
it
1%,
was 1%. That it actually, so that when you're saying that you actually managed to get a valve and one that could actually fit your heart specifically, you don't realize how difficult that is, and how the number of people that aren't getting that opportunity because it's not available. And it was just really, really sad to hear that.
Yeah, it's devastating, but I feel so lucky. There wasn't any huge delay in my surgery. There wasn't any, anything like that. And as I mentioned before, I've known for years what's wrong with my heart and how to fix it. And
I guess that certainty helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Having that certainty that there is a path and it can be achieved.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering, for people out there who are supporting someone with an illness or going through an illness themselves, be that a heart problem, be that cancer, be that something that's more chronic, what advice would you give them to not give up?
I would just say the main piece of advice I would give is truly take it one step at a time, one thing at a time. I feel very underqualified to talk about this because I'm kind of I don't feel really worthy of saying this because what have I
Experience.
What-
More experience than anyone
what have
else.
I been through compared to what other people have been through? I've been through nothing compared to what other people have been through. I've been through absolutely nothing compared to what other people are going through and will go through. But just take one thing at a time, one blood test at a time, one line being taken out at a time, one thing, one day at a time, and just grit your teeth, bear it. That was the main thing that I would do. I would just sit back when I had a line in my neck and I had 2 drains, and I would just close my eyes and just be like, okay, we're fine. And then, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Okay, right, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Because I think when you look at it in its entirety, it's so daunting and so scary. When you're faced with this something quite scary, it's so overwhelming and anxiety provoking to look at the entire thing. You think, oh my God, how am I going to climb this mountain? How on earth am I going to, manage all of this? How on earth am I going to get through this? But one thing at a time, one step at a time, one breath at a time, everything, just one thing at a time.
I think we're all guilty of seeing the future and catastrophizing and getting inside of our heads. in those bleaker moments, those darker points, what did you do then? Like in those moments where you were like filled with despair and it's like, oh my God, this is too big for me. What was your support network? What were your techniques? What were your tools? What were your strategies? I'm really intrigued to know.
I'm so fortunate and grateful in the sense that I have the strongest, fiercest, most loving support network I could ever, ever dream of. My grandparents, my mum, my sister, my work colleagues, my friends, everybody just lifted me up. And the minute that I had a bit of a, oh God, they were right there to pick me up. And my mum took the week off work while I was in hospital, and she took the week off when I came home. So I had my mum to make me cups of tea and to kind of fill up my water bottle for me and just everything. I couldn't have done it without every single person that came round and just sat with me. Just sat with me because you can't really do much really when you come home. You can't even lift a kettle, and you can feel it because your sternum is broken through open heart surgery. You can feel like a burning, like a pulling in you the minute you lifted anything. So in those moments where I was literally a bit of a vegetable, just sat on the sofa with my blanket, watching Dinner Ladies, just having somebody there just to listen, and just somebody there just to give me a hug and just sit there with me and just listen was the most valuable thing. I didn't expect anything off anyone because everybody else has their own lives to lead. You know, the world and other people's lives doesn't revolve around me. But the fact that people came to see me and they brought little hampers of goodies and chocolates and cards and just, as I say, just sat and listened and just chatted to me when I couldn't really do much was the biggest gift and the biggest relief that I could have ever wished for. It was that everybody was incredible.
Your positivity is also incredible.
Magnetic.
It's radiating out of you.
I hope so.
It's just in your gratitude for life and everything you have.
Your zest for life.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I'm not done yet.
No.
Because I suppose you've just had to fight. You've had to fight so much to get where you're at now. Now it's just there's a freedom in it that you've now got this heart
absolutely.
that is working now, and you've carried such a burden it's quite a burden for so long that now the relief of that must just feel freeing.
Yeah. I actually had a cardiology checkup yesterday, and I had a echo and an ECG, and my sonographer, he's scanned me since I was a little girl, and he's scanning my heart, and he goes, "Oh, you've done a good job here."
Wow.
It was like, I'm really happy with that. It looks stable to me. And I was like, I've not heard that word stable to describe my heart for ages. And I remember the letter came through because before I left hospital, I needed an echo scan to go home. And at the follow-up appointment in Liverpool as well, about 6 weeks later, I obviously had another echo and ECG and a chest x-ray. And the letter came back with the results of that, and it said no aortic regurgitation. And I burst into tears. I immediately went on Snapchat and told my friend. I was like, "Oh my God!" I told my best friend because I've never ever read that on a hospital letter ever. It's always been severe stenosis, severe regurgitation, mild. There's never ever been no regurgitation or no stenosis. So that was an overwhelming moment of, oh my God, I can breathe a little bit. I can breathe. I can do whatever now.
I was actually going to ask that. Sorry, Kev,
No.
I was actually going to ask that. So now that you've had the operation, that's it? You've not got any limitations. You're just
Hopefully,
running
yeah.
like every human that's been born with a full,
Yeah.
functioning heart.
I shouldn't need anything else doing. I will obviously need regular checkups to kind of keep an eye on it. But so far, it doesn't look like I'll need anything in the future. And if, another valve did start to leak or anything sort of happened, they could go in through my groin, which is what I've had before. So this should be a one and done. This open heart surgery should be a one and done thing, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Because as bearable as it was, I thought it was going to be agony. I thought I was going to be like, oh my God, just in so much pain. But I remember saying to my mum and my sister when they came to see me the day after, this is more bearable than I thought. This is all right. I can cope with this. It's just that matter of just coping and breathing through it. I thought, yeah, this isn't as bad as I thought. This is much more bearable than what I pictured it was going to be. But as bearable as it was, I wouldn't necessarily want to go through it again.
No, absolutely not. And hearing you speak then, again, the positivity coming through, I can do this.
Oh yeah.
Your self-belief in your ability, in your in yourself to overcome challenges
What other
is
option
so
is
strong. But I'm wondering, how important do you feel that is for anyone who is going through a medical issue or a mental issue in order to get back to health? Do you feel like if you didn't have the perspective that you had and the positivity that you had, do you feel like you would be in this situation now? Or do you feel like the mind and body are interconnected and your outlook on life has certainly made a drastic, I suppose, impact?
I do think to some extent the mind and the body is quite, closely interlinked. My granddad always said from being a little girl, mind over matter. He's very northern, my granddad. Mind over matter, sweetheart, mind over matter. And it's that idea of I might be facing something really, really difficult, but there's always something that can be done. There's always a way through it. There's always a way through it. You might not be able to see it, or it might not be clear, but there is always some way, some route to get through anything in life. Anything that there's always somebody there to help you, and some way to navigate it. Always. And I think obviously that's trickier and a lot more complex for other situations, but there is always hope. Always.
I think on that note, we'll wrap up the conversation. But before we go, what's next for you, Poppy?
What isn't next?
I love
That's
this.
the question. No, I do ballroom and Latin dancing.
Oh.
So I'm hoping end of this year to be at the Winter Gardens, fingers crossed in Blackpool. And I'm hoping to sort of, now that I've got through this and I know that kind of the road ahead is quite clear, I really want to focus in on my career, getting back into acting, just doing something, because it would be such a shame to waste this invaluable gift that my donor has given me, and the incredible, phenomenal work that my surgeon has done and the doctors have done, all of those incredible people that have helped me. It would be a shame to not try and do something with that and not try and use that to the best of my ability, because it is such a gift. It is such a gift that I've been given, and not many people are lucky enough to have been given this gift. And I don't know what I've done to deserve this gift or why I'm so lucky to have, but I'm so grateful that I have. And I can't wait to sort of see what happens.
That's incredible, Poppy. And I would love to, the one thing I'd like to ask just before we do finish wrapping it all up, with the whole experience that you've had, if there was one message you could give people, anybody out there, from what you have experienced, what you've went through, and how you're feeling now, what would that be?
Don't be scared. I think I would say just simple as that. Don't be, frightened, because there's no problem too big. There's nothing that you can't overcome. There's nothing that you can't face. There's always, as I said before, there's always a route through things. There's always someone somewhere able to give you a helping hand if you need it, and there's always something that can be done. So just don't be scared. If you feel like there's something wrong, something ailing you medically, don't be scared to get it checked out. Don't be scared of those scary, uncomfortable conversations. Don't be, worried about your dignity, because believe me, when you're in hospital, all dignity goes out the window, doesn't it? All dignity goes out the window. Just take all of that out of your mind. If, you are such a value and such value and such importance to the world, it would be a shame for you to, it would be devastating if something were to happen to you. and something, you know, it would just be awful because we're all of value, I believe.
Wow,
We
that
can all
I
do
literally was
something.
getting emotional listening to you there.
Literally.
Poppy Wilson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
What
for
an
having me.
incredible story. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning into My Mother Said I Shouldn't. My mother said I should never give up. Thank you so much, Poppy. We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Thank you for checking
Poppy.
in.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Bye, guys.
Bye.